We're killing MSF streamers left and right, which I think is technically against terms of service, but shh, don't tell anybody. Nice, blew his arms off. Absolutely badass. I've become addicted to dog food. Stop. Bring that back over here. Only Run 7 could gain an addiction to dog food. I'm gonna go over here, hang a left, hang a right, hang a left, right? Left, right, right. Damn it. That should be like rule number 1. When you're playing Russian roulette, don't lose count. And I'm already lost. Frack off. Right now we are playing as Doolum. That way, if Doolum gets shot in the face, we don't care so much. Oh, she's getting body slammed. Holy crap. Woo, look at all that money. We're rich. We can almost afford to play Marvel Strike Force now. Look at that. That's amazing. Cannibals on a Mediterranean diet. Hot trash, man. I'm losing my voice and my face hurts from smiling. Okay, that was a bunch of reading that we didn't need to do. Lame. Ah! General Assqueef. Cannibals could serve as population control. Shoot you in the butt. Suck it, losers. Kinda looks like we're gonna be invaded by hair lice. Did somebody clip that?
In the world of
That's not what I wanted to play. What's up, everybody? There, I'll play the music. Okay, well, it's good to know that my stop play button is going to play the right thing, because today I'm watching a video on YouTube. I tend to watch these videos in my spare time, and this one's kind of a long one, 33 minutes. And I was like, hey, if I'm just gonna sit here and chill for a bit, I might as well watch this video with my friends. So I'm gonna react to Gameranx 50 best PC games of the last 5 years. And you guys in chat can watch along. Give your feedback on what you think of these games. Have you played them? Are you wanting to play them? Do you think they're trash? Do you think they belong higher on the list? And I'll be stopping and telling you my input, of course, too, because I like tier lists. I know they're trash, but I like tier lists. Especially, I like watching tier lists about video games if they're good. These are my favorites. So I thought I'd watch this with you guys. What's up, T-Dats? What's up, Frost? Thanks for joining me on this unregistered stream, because I don't have a stream schedule anymore. But that's just how I roll these days. I'm not playing Among Us. No, T-Dad, sorry, I'm not playing Among Us. You're raising some excellent murderers. They both swerved me at least once. Oh, hey, thanks for hanging out with the kids. They had a great time playing with you. I was stuck at the grocery store for like 3 hours. It was terrible. But I'm gonna try and get in for more of those Among Us games, but they're loving it. Every Saturday, they're like, are we playing Among Us today? Are we playing Among Us today? I'm like, I'll see if the gang's together. UCCs must hate football. No, I just don't have an NFL package anymore. Heard San Francisco pulled it out over Seattle the other day. That was a cool one. My dad's a big San Francisco fan. I'm a Ducks fan from Oregon, so, you know, there's that. All right, anyway, let's stop the music and we're gonna switch over to this one and we're gonna check out Gameranx top 50 games. I'll start this video over here.
In the world of gaming, 5 years can seem like a long time, and I am about to make it seem much, much longer. As much as the last 5 years have brought some kind of annoying stuff to PC gaming,
thanks, T. That's yeah, appreciate it.
Plenty of gold. Hi, folks, it's Falcon, and today on Gameranx,
I recognize most of these games that they're teasing right here.
The last 5 years. Starting out with number 50, it's Cyberpunk 2077. It took 3 years of work.
I haven't played this yet.
They were able to get this game to a point where I would recommend Cyberpunk to just about anybody. From the massive 2.0
this game looks right up my alley.
A lot of the gameplay systems, made the shooting more satisfying, made the skill tree more interesting. It's just an all-around better game. It wasn't unplayable at launch, at least on PC, but it clearly needed a lot of work. And now that it has been fixed, it went from a game that was being lambasted in pretty much all games media.
This game looks great to me.
Darling. It's a great game.
I've come so close to purchasing this game so many times.
Some people probably
the only thing keeping me from doing it
for
is that I
putting out
don't
new
have
shit like
time to
that.
play the
To be
games I
frank,
already
it is a
have, and
shameful
this
thing
game
to do,
has
especially
mad
given
hours of
that
gameplay.
CD Projekt Red self-publishes games and is under no force to put a game out. They got that Witcher 3 money, folks. But aside from No Man's Sky, if there is any game out there that totally justifies the dependence on patches, it's Cyberpunk 2077. I will take an extremely flawed game that gets fixed and becomes incredibly good over a game that is bad forever every time. Night City is one of the best, most fleshed out open worlds out there, and the story is great. If you're into shooters or RPGs or CD Projekt Red's games like The Witcher 3, you'll probably like Cyberpunk. And that's a pretty wide net to cast for probably like a game. It's, in fact, probably the most obvious thing to put on this list, and that's exactly why we started off with it.
That looks absolutely sick. Just watching another trailer for the game, it makes me want to buy it. This is my kind of game. And the fact that it came out so flawed and I haven't bought it yet is fine with me because I didn't buy it. Like I did that with 76, Fallout 76. It came out super flawed and I couldn't stand it. And I was so upset, like a many people that bought that game. Now I play 76 during all of my free time, which is almost never, but it's one of the most played games in my library, even though I don't play that many games right now. Yeah, Royalty, I'm glad I left too. I've been keeping up with all the MSF news, and I see everybody just as frustrated as always, so I'm happy I'm out of there. The refs robbed OSU. Yeah, that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Yeah, but, you know, it goes the other way sometimes for your team, so I never get too bent out of shape over that.
Moving on to number 49, we're talking Persona 5 Royal. This is an enhanced port of the original Persona 5. It came
I've never
out
even
on
heard of this
PC in
game.
2022, a few years after the regular version, but the patient gamer wins again because this is by far the best version of the game. Along with a new party member and a lot of small tweaks, improvements, and additions, the big thing Royale...
I'm not a big anime fan, so maybe that's why. Ooh, it looks good.
The game by a large amount. It's
like that kind of cel-shaded look?
Too, just to be clear. Even if the idea of spending even more time in this already gargantuan RPG sounds like a commitment, believe me, it's worth getting. Just look up how to actually reach it online. You don't want to spend 100 hours playing this thing only to find out that you missed out on the new stuff. Even if you don't care about all that, Persona 5 Royal is a super slick JRPG.
I just never liked in anime how so often all the characters look feminine to me.
Tell you, it is one of the most
I can't relate to that. It becomes unrelatable for me. This emo kind of feminine look for everybody.
Time to start to finish.
It's always been just a kind of turn off for me to those anime style games.
Ghost of Tsushima directors.
What's up with name? Cyberpunk feels like it'll take way too much time when I have so little free time already. That's exactly the reason I haven't purchased it, Monguli, is because I don't have the time to enjoy it like I want to. You know, I just purchased Space Marines 2. I think I played it for 4 hours. Fantastic game. Loved every minute of it. I don't have the time to play it. I should probably be playing Fallout London right now, but I wanted to take a break and just chill and watch movies and honestly just hang out with chat and talk.
Took a while for this one to hit PC, but man is it worth it because it is a fantastic open world action game. Imagine an Assassin's Creed game, but with hard.
I was just gonna say this kind of feels like an Assassin's Creed style game.
Of what to expect from Ghost. Another thing to expect.
I heard this is really beautiful.
Experience rather than having gigantic quest markers all over the place. A guiding wind points you towards your next objective. The game's full of immersive little things like that, and they innovate on the usual open world formula. It is a beautiful game on PC, and it's more mechanically complex than most open world games, and the story's dramatic and exciting. It's all around just a really solid and enjoyable, historically inspired adventure. And number...
That's a game that I would like to play. It doesn't rank high on my list. It's kind of like that Assassin's Creed style game. Those games always look good and they look like they'd be pretty fun if I had nothing better to do. For any of these games to like really make their way into my game library, they have to be amazing, right? They have to be the best of the best. So strangely enough, Cyberpunk coming in at number 50 is one of the ones that's on the cusp of making it on my list. And if ever I get the chance, or there's some good DLC content that comes out, I may finally break and purchase that game. But I think we're going to go a long ways through this list before we find something that I'm actually itching to play. 7 Days to Die tonight. Dan, I would absolutely love to, but I got to be to work pretty early in the morning. If I can get the kids to bed, I might stay up for a couple hours and log in, but it would be like from 8:30 to 10 o'clock my time, and that's the most I could probably do. But damn, that game's so much fun, right? It's so much fun. You're getting Space Marines 2, Athame? I'm wondering if Space Marines is going to make this list. It was really fun. Red Dead Redemption 2 to PC. That could be cool. I wonder if it's...
47 is.
I wonder if it's on this list. Oh, these are all PC games, right?
Dig 'em Up is one of the most fun, chaotic, and joyful.
Deep Rock Galactic. This looks cool.
Few years, and is thankfully completely free of the usual microtransaction-heavy BS PC players have grown accustomed to. You buy the game, you get everything you need, and so start mining. The idea of a first-person co-op mining game might not sound that interesting to you, but it is a lot of fun. It's hard to even describe what makes it work so well. The missions are randomly generated, but they're quick and well-paced. The desperate scramble for the exit after you mine just a little too greedily, that's always a joy, every time. And the game's fantastic community makes it extremely welcoming to newcomers. If you're into co-op games, it doesn't get a lot better than
Sounds like a fun game.
At number 46
that just sounds like a fun game to try.
Eternal. The newest Doom is one of the most divisive games over the past few
Doom
years.
Eternal. I was a big Doom fan growing up. This looks good too. It looks real. But it just looks good, you know?
Camp here, I think Doom Eternal is an awesome game. It's a genuinely hard game. The amount of ammo you get sometimes is shockingly small, but the way combat comes together in the game is something totally unique. It almost doesn't even feel like a standard FPS, more like an action game like Devil May Cry, but in first person. That sounds impossible to people who haven't played it, but if you have, you know exactly.
I mean, the weapon loadouts and stuff just looks, it looks crazy.
And frantic in a way that's tougher than you'd think for a big budget Bethesda
I'm that type of gamer that loves to run in and blow shit up, and so this is why Doom Eternal appeals to me. Plus, just being such a fan of the original, Doom's one of those games that really brought me into gaming. When that first PlayStation version landed with Doom and Doom 2.
Detailed art, the tight platforming, and adds in a satisfying combat system on top of that to make the game better than the first in pretty much every way. It's a game that's bigger, more fun to explore, and generally more fun to play, with fewer out-of-place difficulty spikes. The story might not hit as hard as the first game, but it's still a good continuation of what they had going before. As far as Metroidvanias go, it's one of the best.
Looks kind of fun. I like Metroidvania-style games. I've been watching Monguli play stuff like that.
Isn't afraid to mix things up.
Ooh, I played this. I played Resident Evil Village. I enjoyed this very much. It's not too long of a game either. I got through it pretty quick. There's replay value in it, but you can get through the main story pretty quick, and I enjoyed it a lot.
And rather than draw inspiration from the classic games, it's heavily inspired from Resident Evil 4, which, I mean, is a classic game, but not the quote-unquote classic era. It was the first of the 3D games. Well, the truly 3D games. The larger world where you explore a town and move from there, the wider variety of weapons at your disposal, the shopkeeper who sells you equipment and upgrades. Does it sound familiar? It should. It's an action-packed and exciting FPS that isn't afraid to get creepy at times or extremely goofy at others. Looking back, it's one of the weirdest games of the series, but the game design is rock solid.
Oh, some of the enemies that you fought in that game were amazing. That's a great game if you're a fan of the Resident Evil series. I think it was a great little addition.
It seems like one thing, but
What's up, guys? You guys can go on your screens if you want. All right? It's probably hot in here. Okay. All right. Well, I'm streaming, so you mind let me get back to it? Yeah, and you're wearing green, so you're probably not gonna show up too much anyway.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you can see right here.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It just looks like there's a line right here.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, go have fun. Let me get back to streaming. Okay, get out of here. I love you. Oh. He likes the camera more than I do.
Becomes completely clear.
You can believe that?
Something entirely different. And it doesn't even stop there.
Inscription, never heard of this.
The player has to uncover.
Have you guys played this?
Even saying what any of these layers are would be a huge spoiler. Inscription is one of those games that's better to go in completely blind. All that really matters is that it's a roguelike, at least at first, which is a pretty fun little card game on its own. It eventually becomes clear that you can get up from the table and look around, and that there are puzzles to solve, and it gets complicated from there. But if you don't care about that, you can keep playing the card game. The important thing for these kinds of mystery games is that the actual game part is actually fun, and Inscription nails that part better than most. It's endlessly surprising. It's also just a really fun and addictive game.
I wonder if you could play that as like a Twitch Redemption style game. That could be cool. Oh, here we go, Dead Space.
Genre, but getting this work
this is my jam right here.
These days,
if you're a fan of Silent Hill, original Resident Evil, stuff like that, Dead Space is fantastic. I played the original, I played the remake, I played 2 and 3. They're all just amazing to me.
Of some of the supporting characters.
If you want to start out in Dead Space, I highly recommend you do Dead Space the remake.
The stuff that matters, the
it's
atmosphere, the intent.
It's a little bit leveled out gameplay. You require more than just your starting pistol to go through.
It's more in line with Dead Space 2. Like, these games feel less different with the changes that have been made. It's a shame this one didn't get as many updates as maybe it should have. The performance isn't quite as good as it could be, but it's a small price to pay for what's otherwise one of the best horror games in a very long time.
Fantastic horror game. Great for Halloween if you're looking for a title to play.
Legendary Edition. As much as everyone was mad at the ending of Mass Effect 3, it's a landmark trilogy with...
Okay, so I played Mass Effect 1 and I enjoyed it a lot, but I only got like halfway through it because time, right? I'm an adult who has to do adult things. I've always wanted to go back to this series because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the loadouts, the team building, the choices that you can do. There's so much to have fun with Mass Effect in this title. I've wanted to go back. But this is a game that just requires too much time investment. For me, I'm looking for short, quick, addictive games, especially games that I could be using as Twitch channel point redemptions like Buckshot Roulette.
The carefully realized world, endearing characters, and people love it. Being able to play them with a few modernizing touches and improvements, it's a godsend. The only downside is the lack of the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, which may have been the best thing about the third game. Honestly, I still think the third game holds up pretty well, and the gameplay is probably the best in the trilogy. Still, these games are a little dated, the writing is a little lame at times, some of the big twists aren't really that satisfying, but as a package, they are great. You can play through all of them in one shot, so all your choices carry over, or you can just play your favorite. Either way, fantastic compilation.
Oh, you can play them all. Oh, that's cool.
At number 40,
I like when they carry over your stuff from one game to the sequel.
It's probably as big of an advance in open world games as Breath of the Wild, because it does so many things differently and in a way that's enjoyable.
I own Elden Ring. I played it for one day, and I said, I'm sorry, I'm not good enough to play your game.
It's a Dark Souls game. Honestly, I don't know what else to say. You gotta play Elden Ring. It's really good. And
I agree, it's a good game, but it was just too challenging for me.
Action game combines roguelike.
Does Monguli still hold the record on Buckshot Roulette? Yes, Monguli still holds the record. I think he was out with 3 shells. It was like one shell, the dealer racked out a blank and then shot him again, and he was out. And it was the fastest we've ever had somebody out in Buckshot Roulette. I played Dead Space Remake for like 6 hours overnight in the 24-hour stream. Kept me awake all night easily. Yes, very scary game. I like playing games like Dead Space and Silent Hill. I like playing them in the dark by myself. I like scaring the crap out of me. And Dead Space makes you jump. It does a fantastic job of that.
Likes with beat 'em ups in a way I've never seen before, and they do it just about perfectly. It's a short game that can be completed in less than an hour, but actually doing that is nearly impossible at first. Sifu's a game about repetition. The levels stay the same, the enemy layouts stay the same, the bosses stay the same, but getting through those parts is so hard that it's going to take a lot of tries before you finally get it right and eventually overcome the final boss. It sounds like a drag, but the game is so much fun to play it doesn't really matter. And the combat is lightning fast.
Is this the one where like you can like if you keep screwing up and going back, you end up aging as you go through? Oh yeah, look, his character's aging, yeah.
And number 38 is Hi-Fi
Sounds interesting.
Rush. This joyfully goofy action game.
Hi-Fi Rush, I've never heard of this.
Is maybe a little too long.
He's got a robotic arm, that's cool.
Infectious energy that's just unlike anything else. The game combines combat with a rhythm game in one of the most obvious but brilliant mashups of all time. Other games have done it, but nobody else has done it as well. Once the momentum really gets going, entering a flow state in Hi-Fi Rush is like beyond fun. It's a game that has flaws, but the parts that matter are so good that they don't really matter. And number 37 is
I don't know if
Armored
that
Core
interests
6.
me.
This high-speed mech combat game
Armored
comes
Core
with a
6.
throwback
Oh, I
to
was a
the
big
era,
fan of
and
Armored Core
that's
back
because
in the
it is.
day. I
Instead of
wanted
being
to
set
try
in a
this. This looks
continuous
so
world or an
good.
open world or anything like that. It's split into bite-sized, challenging missions. Story is practically non-existent, literally just voices. The focus is on mech building and combat. And
Which is where it
that's what
should be. I
makes
don't care
Armored
about the
Core
story. I want
special.
big
You're
robots
given
that blow
tons of
shit
parts
up.
to slap together and make
I'm a
the
simple
ultimate
person
mech
with
or the
simple
ultimate
needs.
piece of crap. Sink or swim with the mech design. Same with the combat. It's so fast, it's almost hard to keep track of at times. It's been so long since we've gotten a real mech game, and while Armored Core is hard as nails, it's easily the best mech game of the last 5 years.
This is one where I'm really close to buying it. Because I was a big Armored Core fan. I heard a lot of good things about 6. This is one that's right on the cusp.
And number 36 is Resident Evil 4's remake. It seemed unnecessary until we got it. The original Resident Evil 4 is a classic, but depending on who you ask, this one's even better. You're listening to a bird that thinks that yes, it is. But no matter which side you fall on,
I think
this game
I've
is
played
still
Resident
great.
Evil 4.
And
I
even
know
if you
I didn't play the
original 4
remake.
classic to death, there's a good reason to play the remake because it's actually a pretty different experience. It's remade from the ground up. The level designs are sometimes drastically different. Bosses are more complex. They're sometimes in very different places. It's a remix of the original game that feels both familiar and different in exciting ways. And
Could be
number
fun.
35 is Lies of P. I've had a whole lot of people talk about how we say Souls-likes too much, but do you realize how many Souls-likes there are? And
There's a lot of Souls-like games. And honestly, I don't have a problem with that. Souls is a great title. It did well. There's a reason everybody copies it.
Victorian horror, and it
Victorian
leans into an
horror.
emphasis
That
on
sounds cool.
parrying. But what makes this special is that it's a more accessible game in the genre. Doesn't mean it's easy, but the early areas aren't quite as brutal, and it's not as mechanically complex. It demands a little less for the player, but in this case, it works in the game's favor. The boss designs are really fantastic. The world is really fun to explore, but not too complex. It's a good starter Souls-like, but also one of the best in the genre. I mean, how rare is those two things one thing?
I could check this out. It's not high on my list, but Lies of P, I've heard things about it, lots of positive things about the game. It's something that if I had the time, I would definitely check it out. Not gonna make it into my playlist anytime soon because I just don't have the time. What's up, Wonderful D? Things are going good, Wonderful D. We're just checking out the best 50 PC games of the last 5 years, seeing if Gameranx got it right. I've seen or heard of most of them so far. I think we're on number 35 or something here. And they're pretty interesting. I think, two of these I'm really tempted to get, which is Cyberpunk and Armored Core 6. Doom Eternal also, tell you the truth, but probably not.
And number 34 is Pizza Tower. So this is a manic 90s cartoon inspired.
This is a hard no for me right off the bat. I can tell you right now. This looks like Sonic the Hedgehog, which I did not enjoy at all.
It is a super weird and wonderful platformer that has tons of mechanical depth, but it can be played by just about anyone. If you're a Madman speedrunner, this is a game that you can lose hundreds of hours to, but if you,
Yeah, sorry, I'm not a Madman speedrunner. I don't have hundreds of hours to lose to it. It looks like a game that would frustrate me.
Talk about it, but you won't get involved in the insane time.
Interesting color scheme and stuff, but
there's plenty to like for this game for either group. Though.
Definitely not for me.
Humor, the creative level design, and absolutely fantastic music make it a breeze to play. Easily one of the best platformers in the last half decade.
Yeah, Cyberpunk's got the DLC stuff. I love that they're getting such great voice actors and implementing their personas, their character, the visual. Like they've got Keanu Reeves in there who plays a character and he looks like Keanu Reeves. And like I'm enjoying that aspect of some of these games when they're really doing a good job with the voiceovers. I hear that the new Elder Scrolls is supposed to do a lot of that, get some really top tier stuff going in there and have some good voiceovers and whatnot. I also hear Elder Scrolls. Is it Elder Scrolls that might be moving to the new Unreal Engine? I don't know. I'll have to check it out though.
And number 33 is Dave the Diver, a charming indie, not indie. It looks probably like nothing special at first glance, but it's one of the most unique and fun games in a long time. During the day, you explore the sea, you fish, you look for loot, and at night, you manage a sushi restaurant. What starts out as a mostly standard but very fun premise just keeps going and going and getting weirder and more creative as its world continues to expand. It's one of those games you think is about to ramp up, and then they throw some new wrinkle at you, but rather than get tired, it keeps getting better. And number 32 is Alan Wake 2.
I'll have to take your word for it. It doesn't look interesting to me.
Got made. Alan Wake 2 is one of those games you're not necessarily playing, you're kind of experiencing. It's split between two stories. You got two very different characters from very different backgrounds. And the game gives you a pretty solid survival horror on top of really, really mind-blowing visuals. And what makes it work is how, incredibly weird it is. You probably heard of the rock opera, but that's the tip of the iceberg. This game goes places. And if you're willing to take that ride, it is something to remember.
Alan Wake looks like an interesting game that I could probably just watch like a 20-minute YouTube video going over the highlights of the playthrough or something like that. I don't think, because it's one of those games where you're just kind of there to witness the story and make some choices along the way. It looks cool, and I do like story-driven titles. I like, part of the reason I like Dead Space is because the story is so good. You get attached to the characters and whatnot. Alan Wake is kind of the extreme. It almost feels like a choose-your-own-adventure kind of game, and I could probably do with that. We won't see Elder Scrolls for another 4 to 5 years, so I honestly wouldn't bother waiting for that. I thought Elder Scrolls, the latest was, the word on it was that it was set to release late 2026. I could be wrong, though. Bethesda wasted too much time with Starfield, so Elder Scrolls 6 was pushed back for years. Don't they have two different teams working on it and not a lot of crossover on those two titles? I don't know. I need to get my research out on that. I would sure like some updates to Starfield. They invested so much in that game. Just start putting some more stuff in it. Give me enemies on the surface of all the planets, things I can bump into. They could really improve Starfield a lot.
Number 31 is Against the Storm. One common issue with city builders is the boring part, the part where you've solved the initial money problems and you're kind of coasting until you get tired. Against the Storm fixes the issue by making the start the entire game. This roguelike with persistent elements is a city builder where you're always on a time limit and a time crunch. You only have so much time to get your city to a survivable state before you move on. And that turns every map into a puzzle that has to be solved. It's challenging.
Okay. If you like city building games, this could be cool.
And yeah, it does take a little time to get the hang of it. You'll probably fail more than a few times before you start to get it. But I'm
kind of over city building games.
You want to keep trying. You'll feel great when you get it.
It does look like that's going to take some of the best parts of the city building thing and just put that on repeat and let you get rid of all the boring stuff. City building games is like once you figure out the recipe, it gets boring real fast. And if this one has different challenges on each map, then that could be pretty good. Now, Bethesda have two studios, but one is Fallout 76 and remasters. The main studio was all out on Starfield, and Elder Scrolls 6 was only in concept phase. Last year it was put into pre-production, so it's honestly years away. Zero chance we get it next year. Okay. Well, next year is 2025. Nobody's thinking it's coming out in 2025. I heard late 2026 is what I heard. But I don't know. And honestly, I would rather them keep pushing Elder Scrolls back until they get it right, so long as they don't push back too far. And it's okay. It's a Bethesda title. We know it's going to be buggy, but get the actual gameplay and story down so that you don't have another Starfield crisis, so that you don't have another 76 crisis, right? We want good gameplay, a good story, a nice main story to follow, and then everything else you can just add in on downloadable content.
And number 30 is Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. Worth mentioning Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Oh, hey, this... Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and Yakuza Like a Dragon, all those dragon games... they're supposed to be making a TV series based on this franchise, much like Fallout, and they're bringing that to Amazon Prime. I'm very curious about this. I don't know if Mongooli's still in chat, but I actually wanted to bring Mongooli on for an episode where him and I could just talk about the games that are being brought in to make TV series. I think that's right up his alley. I know that he played The Last of Us. I watched The Last of Us. And then, of course, I played and watched Fallout. And I'm curious if he's going to check out the series. I mean, I'll probably watch the series for sure. I don't think I'm going to play the Dragon games. These don't interest me as much. Maybe he'll check it out. I'm thinking about circling back around and playing The Last of Us, the game. I've heard really good things about that, and I enjoyed the show so much. Makes me want to jump into it. But I'd like to have a conversation with Mongooli about the video games that become successful TV series or movies. There are a lot of games that become garbage movies and TV series, but those two, and hopefully this Dragon Yakuza one, will be a good video to watch. What's going on, Dadpool? You'd love to see a Deus Ex live action. That would be very cool. Yes, rest in peace, Halo. I watched season 1 of Halo and barely got through it. I was very disappointed. I didn't like that John took his helmet off right off the rip, and we gave him this character and personality and stuff. I wanted them to go Mandalorian with Master Chief, and they didn't, and it kind of ruined that for me. And I would have liked them to drag out the suspense of that. That should have been like a season 2, season 3 reveal, and instead it was like episode 2, he pops his lid, and I was like, what? Really? Who is this guy? It wasn't even anybody like I knew. Like, I've seen him and stuff, but I don't even know who that actor is. And frankly, I could still forget him because he didn't do a very good job in the show. Yeah, Halo was a terrible, terrible thing. Great game, Last of Us. Great story, great graphics. A little stealth-oriented, so unsure of your final judgment. I can deal with a little bit of stealth. If it's got merit and it brings you into the story. If it's just Hitman where it's nothing but stealth, forget about it. I can't do that. But I don't mind encountering situations where you gotta be a little bit stealthy. I like the actor better in American... Oh, that's where I've seen him from. Yes, American Gods was pretty good. Although American Gods had some good episodes up front, and then it kind of fell flat afterwards. They kind of hooked me, and then I kept waiting for it to happen, and it never really popped off again. But it was okay. He did a good job in American Gods. I liked him in that. All right, let's get back to this here.
Who Erased His Name, Dragon Inshin, and Lost Judgment. These are all great games too, but the most recent game in the long-running Yakuza franchise is easily one of the best. This one, a continuation of the first Like a Dragon, is a new take on the series with turn-based combat and a generally weirder and wackier vibe. The mundane life details are more mundane. Party characters are like a homeless guy, a security guard, and a taxi driver who all have very relatable problems, while the actual story is even crazier. If that's not your cup of tea, there's plenty of other games in the series to recommend. I gave you the names of plenty of them.
Yeah, I'm going to have a hard time picking up this title. Maybe if the TV series brings me into the franchise, I'll take another look at it, but I don't think this is going to be for me.
At number 29 is Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew, the last game of developer...
I've never heard of this.
Arguably their best. Made with all the experience they got making games like Shadow Tactics and Desperados 3, putting that into a stealth tactical game gives players more freedom than ever. This game, like everything else they've ever made, is all about carefully maneuvering a gang around, and they all have unique abilities in order to carefully dismantle the complex level full of patrolling guards and hazards. These games turn stealth into a complex puzzle and require so much quick saving that the game optionally tells you how long it's been since your last one. It's a very PC-centric sort of game, but if you've got the patience and smarts for it,
could be a fun puzzle-solving type of stealth
really
game.
Lets you bring any team into
might be interesting. You know, set up a play, and then you have all your characters come together to make the maneuver at the same time. Could be okay. Not something I'm that interested in though.
Perfection. Street
Fighter 6. Now here is a classic. Show of hands, how many people loved playing Street Fighter back on their Super NES? I was a Blanca fan. right? I loved Blanca. One of my best friends was a Guile fan, and he also would just absolutely break controllers left and right because he wanted to beat the game as Zangief. And you can't, because Zangief, though he is a cool wrestling Russian guy that like wrestles bears and stuff, he kind of sucks and he's too slow to get through like M. Bison at the end. And he would break so many controllers trying to beat that game as Zangief. And I'm like, dude, just go back and beat his guy. He's like, Guile's too easy. I'm like, okay, that's why I play as Blanca, because I can just shock the shit out of people and get through all the matches. I loved Street Fighter. I think I left off at Street Fighter 76 Turbo Ultra Nerd Super Pocket Protectors or whatever, because there's been so many renditions of Street Fighter. I don't know about Street Fighter 6, so I'll take a look at this. But I think more of the later battling games, I kind of moved on to like Mortal Kombat rather than Street Fighter. They appealed to me a little bit more. Although some of the fatalities got so gory, I haven't been picking up those titles anymore. You loved Chun-Li even back then, right? Yeah, with all them kicks. I hated the combo button pushing games. Yeah, some of the combos were kind of weird. Like I said, that's why I like Mortal Kombat. They got into better combos, and then there was like Killer Instinct had some great combos and combo breakers and stuff like that. I wasted money at the arcade, and OMG, Zangief was for skill players. Yeah, Zangief was tough, dude. He was so hard to win with. I always ended up rolling my fave across the keyboard. Oh, face. Yeah, button mashers for sure.
Popularity with a fantastic fighting
Look at
system,
that Ryu with a
great
beard.
online options, and tons of content available for more casual players. The new modern fighting system is also a godsend and actually viable to use competitively, and the popularity of the game means there's actually a decent cross-section of players to fight. This is easily the sharpest.
Man, look at those thighs on Chun-Li. I wouldn't want to get kicked by those legs. She'd break me in half.
The character design.
Holy crap.
Fantastic. The new World Tour
Those legs
mode
are
gives
thick.
offline players plenty to entertain themselves with. The microtransactions crap does hurt the experience, but
microtransactions are the downfall of the gaming industry. God, I hope they move away from that.
Hades, this top-down roguelike has one thing that most roguelikes are missing: a story. And, you know, that means there's characters for players to get invested in, and it's got all that.
Okay, we're back to like an anime-style game.
Extremely good with tight but accessible combat, and it's got some super fun weapons and a lot of different possible builds. It uses the roguelike formula to its advantage with a hub of characters who evolve and grow while you do the roguelike.
Okay, this doesn't look so bad, actually.
Where dying doesn't feel like a failure, it actually feels like a different kind of progress. At number 26,
I probably won't go for that. If I was gonna go for a game like that, I'd just go get Diablo 4, man. Everybody's playing Diablo 4 right now. They got that new spirit character guy. It's popping off. I'd just go for Diablo 4 over something like that. Greetings from Austin. Been a minute. How are you? Doing pretty good, Sheriff Lobo. Doing pretty good. We're just hanging out watching the top 50 best PC games of the last 5 years, according to Gameranx. We're halfway through the list here. Definitely cracking walnuts between those knees. Yeah, Chun-Li, yeah. They'll never move away from microtransaction, though. That's how business stays alive. Well, I'm just hoping that somebody finds something better, right? Or the gaming industry evolves in some way. They won't move away from microtransactions until there's a new thing that makes more money. Right now, it's microtransactions. You know, what was it, 10 years ago, it was DLC. Like, everybody likes the idea of a free-to-play downloadable game, but what happens when gaming companies become so big that you purchase a subscription to Bethesda and then you gain access to everything they have and you pay a monthly subscription or something like that, right? And you could get a premium subscription to get more of their skins or something like that. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but could we please move away from microtransactions microtransactions and pay-to-win gaming. I hate that. I really like competitive gaming where it pits your skill against somebody else's skill.
Myth Wukong. This hardcore action game isn't quite a Souls-like.
Oh, this is one that I thought looked really good. Everybody's talking about how beautiful it is.
It's built on a lot of the conventions of the Souls-like, but they change a lot of things when they feel like it, and it makes for a pretty different kind of action game. Thankfully, a really good one with a frankly insane amount of bosses, which would get tiring if the action wasn't so damn good. The stuff between all the bosses can feel a little undercooked at first, but the game gets bigger and more open as it goes, along with a ton of really satisfying secrets. So, in my opinion, one of the best.
Just looks amazing
in quite a while.
If you're a Souls fan, I think that's one you kind of need to pick up. It's not going to make it onto my game playlist. I think that by the time I get around to wanting to purchase that game, there's going to be other better games that are Souls-like. But right now, as far as the Souls-style games go, this is probably at the top of that list. I have no issue with that. I play Fortnite. All the money you spend in the world doesn't help game-wise. 100%. That's why I like Fortnite, right? I'm there with my noob skin. I got nothing going on. I got like a glider that looks like it's duct taped together. I'm dropping in there like it's day one, even though I've been playing Fortnite for years, because I don't spend a penny on that game, and it's fine because it's still just skill. Very rarely can you purchase anything that gives you an advantage, and usually it's just for that season when it does happen. Fortnite is a great example, but Fortnite is super, super popular, and now they have a bajillion different game modes that you can play on that, and all these variety of things for people to spend money on, and so they're able to pull that off. When you talk about a game like Marvel Strike Force that has, 5 basic game modes and no other features. It's not like they have players making content for that game or something. You can't just make money off of skins. They've got to sell to Krakens so that they can beat up on people who don't have big wallets. Yeah, exactly, Sheriff. Because of how large their player base is. They have a huge worldwide player base, and that's why they're able to pull it off. And other games just can't make that happen.
And number 25 is Crusader Kings 3, the most accessible grand strategy game of them all. Crusader Kings 3 is still
never
a very
heard of
complex
this
game, but a few notable changes make it much easier than Paradox's stable of other titles. With no real end goal, the fun of these games is just seeing what happens, what kingdoms you can conquer, what tragedies befall your monarch, what eventually happens to your domain. It's all up in the air while your basic goal is to expand your kingdom and gain more wealth and power. There is nothing stopping you from basically doing whatever you want, just see what happens.
That's horrifying.
That's the real appeal of the grand strategy genre, being a cog in the wheels of history. And sometimes...
Wait, is this the game where you can make one of your subjects a horse, and eventually you can make it into, your subject can rise in status to become king and eventually have an entire kingdom of horse people? I think this is that game. I was watching 10 goofiest glitches that game makers never took out. There was this little side note where you could knight your horse or something, and then as long as your horse keeps succeeding in battle or something, it'll rise in rank and eventually be the leader of its own kingdom or whatever. I don't know anything else about the game, but it was a funny little side note on this one. I don't know. If I'm going to get into games like this, it's probably just going to be like a Civilization game.
Sometimes it's fun to keep things going. Other times, you just want it to all fall apart. And number 24 is Spider-Man Remastered, formerly PlayStation exclusive. It came to PC in 2022, and it's just as good there as it was on consoles. The superhero open world game doesn't do anything that the original doesn't do, but it does so with more polish. The game looks amazing, and the combat is highly inspired by the Batman Arkham games, it does manage to have its own fun spin on it, and some of the most impressive set pieces of any action game I've ever played.
Looks really good.
Amazing missions in there that really hold up as some of the most exhilarating and carefully choreographed action scenes I've ever seen. It's also a game with incredibly good pacing. It gets in and gets out, doesn't feel rushed, doesn't feel slow, feels just that right Goldilocks pace. The platonic ideal of superhero open world games.
Yeah, I'm not huge on the Marvel. I know I came from Marvel Strike Force originally. It's what got my start in streaming, but I'm not huge on the Marvel action games like this. I don't have anything against them. I think these are great games. I know a lot of people that have a lot of fun with them. I used to have a buddy who played all of the Spider-Man games, especially. I'd go hang out at his house and watch him play because they were so entertaining and they had good stories and things like that. And we just hang out. He'd play the game and I'd just sit there and talk with him about stuff while he played. And it was entertaining to watch, you know? But I just never really got into these, I guess. I don't know. Or do you guys find these games kind of fun? Spider-Man games are very good. Frost likes them, huh? Yeah, this one looks pretty cool. I've heard good things about the different set pieces, the different cutscenes and stuff like that. I don't know. Probably not going to be anything I'll ever dive into, but it looks like a good game to some people. Some people might get into them, I guess.
At number 23 is Teardown, a voxel-based game all about the joy of destruction.
Ooh, destruction, I like that. The first Spider-Man and Miles Morales games were great. Haven't played the new one. Yeah, I heard the Miles Morales one where you could be... Where you had both of them going in there. Didn't it start out as Miles and then they did this DLC to bring in the original Spider-Man or something? My daughter is the master of the household. I'm more Borderlands. Oh, dude, Borderlands is fantastic. I don't care what... I don't like the Moon Borderlands. Was it like 2.5 or something? It was like a 0.5 game. I don't remember an in-between one. I didn't like the Moon one. That's when Titanfall originally came out, and they tried to get the characters to jump high and run on walls and stuff. They were trying to capture that stuff from Titanfall, and I just didn't enjoy the low gravity jumping. It just became an annoying mechanic that they added into it. I just enjoy the looting, shooting, picking up cool guns, and the tree loadout, the 3-tree kind of loadout that was reminiscent of Diablo into a shooter. I think the Borderlands games were amazing. I remember when the first Borderlands came out, it was originally going to look entirely different. And at the last minute, they revamped it all to be cell shaded, and everybody freaked, and they're like, why would you do that? It's going to look terrible. And of course, Borderlands, super popular franchise today, has a very iconic look, and everybody that I know likes the game once they've played it. It's in the same universe that the new Wolverine game is in. Okay. Borderlands movie doesn't exist. Changed my mind. Yeah, Dadpool Games. I don't know about what's this Borderlands movie, because I don't know of any Borderlands movie that I'm ever gonna go watch. I have no desire to see this thing that people talk of.
You play as a different kind of thief, the thief that smashes through walls to get the goods and get away with as much loot as possible before the cops.
Okay, that sounds interesting. If I was going to be a robber,
these big levels,
I'd be the guy that would chain the ATM to my pickup truck and just tear it out of there.
Clear a path of destruction to make your return trip faster. Simple concept, but extremely brilliantly executed.
I've never heard of that game. It looks kind of fun.
Principle 2. The original was a masterpiece of a puzzle game, and in some ways the sequel's actually
the
better.
Talos Principle 2.
Kinds of puzzles that involve mines and recording copies, and generally made the game more accessible with a less severe learning curve.
Okay.
The new environments are absolutely stunning too, but also massive and a little empty. The walking simulator aspect of the game is a plus here, in my opinion anyways. The more involved story is a little less...
Don't watch it, Frost! Don't watch it!
It's a game that's a little less focused, but...
Borderlands is gonna be horrible, man. Don't put yourself through that.
Excellent.
You know what? Kevin Hart stars in that movie, and you know who he plays? He plays Kevin Hart, like he does in all of his movies. It's gonna be terrible. They butchered that. Tiny Tina is in that movie, and she's not nearly psychotic enough. She is like 1/17 as psychotic as she should be from the video games. I was appalled when I saw the previews for that. I don't think you should bother watching it, even if it's free.
At number 21, it's It Takes Two, a co-op game.
Oh, this is fantastic. I can't wait until my wife comes back to me. She's currently lost in another dimension called the school dimension, and we don't see each other anymore, probably won't for like another 2 years. But when she does return from school, we're going to finish up this game because we played it together. This game is amazeballs. So much fun.
On your journey are also a fun breather as well.
If you're married, play this game with your wife. I'm not kidding you. This is a fantastic marital game. It is so much fun. They hit the nail on the head with marital issues. It's about a couple who's going into a divorce. They have a daughter. The daughter makes a wish and they become these little dolls and have to escape to find a magical book to bring them back to their human form, right? And they have to work together to get through all this stuff. And you, as a married couple, play as them, and you have to communicate with your spouse to get through this game. And it is so like layered and so deep when you think about it like that. Absolutely need to play this with your spouse. This game is so good. If you're married, you have to pick this one up. If you're not married, find a friend and play this game. You only need one copy too. One of you can buy it and your buddy across the pond can play it with you because it has this like play share ability where they basically get to play with you whenever you play it. It's really cool. It Takes Two is one of the most fun and accessible co-op games I've ever played. I 100% agree with you. As far as co-op games go, I think this is the pinnacle of success. And like I said, especially if you're married, it really strikes home with you because the two people in the game will experience so many issues that most of us experience in our own marriages. And you're like, oh my gosh, I've been there when that happens. And then you with your spouse are trying to get through problems by communicating and synchronizing and timing your actions and stuff. Just amazing. Kate Blanchett, I will like the monk in the Da Vinci Code, self-punishment. Kate Blanchett, just because Kate Blanchett is Kate Blanchett in Borderlands? Is she really? I'll pick it up. We're currently playing Waifu the First Descendant together. The First Descendant's good. I need to get back to that. What's up, strategist? We're going over the best PC games of the last 5 years. And we just landed on, I don't know what, number 20 or something, and it's It Takes Two, which I've played. So far, I've had like 3 games on this list that I've actually played. I like them a whole bunch. And there's about 2 or 3 games that I really want to purchase on this list. Of those games, it's going to be Cyberpunk. It's going to be probably Doom Eternal, and then there was another one in there around the 30s. I forget what it was. Somebody will probably remind me. But so far, it's pretty good. What was it? It was, Armored Core 6. That was it. Armored Core 6. All right, let's get back to it.
As are all the little interactions and secrets to find. It's a game that's really endlessly entertaining. And number 20, Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2.
There we go. We knew it happened. There's another one I got.
Perfectly.
I've only played it for 4 hours. I definitely think it belongs on this list.
Which is from a long time ago. And improving on them, Space Marine 2 is an Xbox 360 game in a modern-day shell in all the best ways. The campaign's focused, not all that long. The additional co-op missions are trickier, but add a fun challenge for people who want to continue past the story, and the multiplayer offerings are simple, but a ton of fun. The most important part is that the game just feels great to play.
Yep.
There's a real oomph.
100% agree with this.
The environments look consistently great, too, as do the massive hordes of monsters you often encounter. It's uncomplicated, but extremely well-made fun. And
I think that Space Marines 2 would do really well with that new PS controller that gives like feedback. The one thing I have a problem with Space Marines 2 is that when I'm trying to do those combos, I can't tell if I'm doing them right, because most of it is like X or XX or XXX, and I think there's XXXX, right? Like, it's a simple tap, 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 and then you like long hold it at the end, and I can never feel like, am I doing this combo right? Is that the combo I wanted to do? And I think like a controller that would give you some sort of like more tactile feedback might be good for that game in some way. But other than that, man, it's just so much fun to play. OMG, 34 years of marriage. No way is she entering my gaming world. Well, if you want a Space Marine, I got time. Yeah, that's the problem, Strategist. I don't have time. I was supposed to be doing a Fallout London stream today, but I just felt like looking at video games and hanging out with chat a little bit more today. Just got to check out the simmering pot. What's the simmering? You cooking dinner right now or something?
Number 19 is Balatro. This game combines all the degeneracy of poker with the obsessive, just one more game compulsions of a roguelike to devastating and time-devouring results.
Ooh, I don't like the idea of time-devouring.
It's brilliantly designed. There's no story, no combat, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't need any of that to keep us playing. All that matters are the multipliers. And number 18,
I don't know about that one. Time consuming, no story, that just sounds like it's just giving you a dopamine fix on jackpot wins. I'd feel like I was at a slot machine that never paid out. I'm not interested in some of those games. I've been playing a few of those style games on my phone lately. The poop and play kind of games when you're just on the toilet with nothing better to do. And I can't get into them for very long. I end up playing them for a couple of days and then just uninstall. Once I figure out the pattern, it becomes not interesting to me anymore. The complexity just isn't enough for me, and I'm not interested in those style of games. So I doubt I'm gonna go there. Sounds like MSF. Yeah, slot machine that never pays out. That's it exactly. You know what sucks? Here's something that sucks. Talking about poop and shooters, or poop and play kind of games. When you sit down on the toilet and realize that you forgot your cell phone and you're like, damn it, I'm stuck here for 10, 15 minutes with nothing to do but stare at the roll of toilet paper. That is the worst, man. I don't think I've sat down on the toilet without my phone in like 6 years.
Is Death Stranding. This one just sneaks by under the wire with a November 2019 release date, and while it's a game that's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, it's one of the most interesting big-budget games in a very long time. You're a post-apocalyptic FedEx man tasked with... It's not actually FedEx. I like you.
Post-apocalyptic. They've sunk the hook. The FedEx joke is kind of humorous. I'm curious about this game, Death Stranding. I don't know about this. This looks like it could be something good. Maybe change your diet. I've always been a slow roll on the toilet. That's just, well, and two, when you have kids, the bathroom becomes one of the doors that you're allowed to lock and just keep them out, and that's your peace and quiet time. So, especially when I have my cell phone, I could sit on the toilet until my leg falls asleep. Swear to God. You just described me without power the last 3 days. I'm so sorry, Dadpool Games. I hope everything's good for you over there, man. No, sure, I could even go without it. It gets boring with other people's placed bridges in your own world. Your fortress of solitude.
Using the exaggerated description. Your career. But you're tasked with reconnecting the world, which sounds weird as a game premise, but it's so much crazier than that. If you can get past the baffling story, what you're left with is a game about walking from one place to another with a bunch of stuff on your back. Somehow they found a way to make that compelling, and I mean, that's impressive enough, but I mean, it's not just compelling, it is an extremely fun game. At number 17.
Okay, I want to know more about that last one. That Death Stranding. They didn't give me enough, or maybe I was busy talking Death Stranding that looked interesting. I may check that out further. I love post-apocalyptic games, and it's a post-apocalyptic game where you have a definite goal to achieve. It's less sandboxy, and it looked pretty good too. The visuals. I've heard of that game. I believe if it's the same game. Like I said, I didn't get much from that little clip, so maybe I'll have to circle back around to that. More like Fortress of Solid Turd. Welcome to the Red 7 stream, everybody, where there is no low bar. Kojima always makes good stories. Was that Norman Reddit? It did look like that, right, Frost? It did. You know what? Let's just go back and watch that over again real quick. Let's see. Here we go.
Is Death Stranding. This one just sneaks by under the wire with a November 2019 release date. And while it's a game that's not going to be everybody's cup of tea,
that came out in 2020?
Budget games in a very long time. You're a post-apocalyptic FedEx man tasked with... It's not actually FedEx. I like using the exaggerated description. You're a courier. But you're tasked with reconnecting the world, which sounds weird as a game premise, but it's so much crazier than that. If you can get past the baffling story, what you're left with is a game about walking from one place to another with a bunch of stuff on your back. Somehow
that does look like Norman.
That compelling, and I mean that's impressive enough. But I mean it's not just compelling; it is an extremely fun game.
Right, mobile gamer, not trash.
Satisfactory, which just came out of early access this year. This game
looks fun. I've seen Let's Game It Out do this.
Instead of a bird's eye view, you normally get these types of things. You're right down in the action. Getting a proper factory started takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and a whole hell of a lot of conveyor belts. But once
this is a game, if I had endless time, I could play endlessly and just enjoy building wacky shit. But it is an absolute time waster. It's somewhat of a sandbox game, probably the closest thing to a sandbox game I'll ever enjoy. But Satisfactory does appeal to me. Any of those games, honestly, any game that Let's Game It Out will do a video on, I would probably love wasting time on, right? Norman Reedus. Also, Mads Mikkelsen. I don't know who Mads Mikkelsen is. What's up, Flint? Way to go, getting Mephisto. You know what? The only thing better than getting Mephisto, Flint, is getting the fuck away from MSF. Oh, okay, let's get back to this. I don't want to bag on MSF all day. You guys like your MSF? I'm happy. I'm happy you're happy. And honestly, Flint, congratulations, you got Mephisto. That's an achievement I never did.
But for the optimization obsessed, it is the perfect game. At number 16 is Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. This Jet Set Radio-inspired adventure is just a ton of fun.
Bomb Rush Cyberpunk? We got a cel-shaded game here.
Futuristic, highly stylized locations and spray paint everything you see, and adds a little Tony Hawk into the mix.
Ooh, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, man. Now that was a game. That was a game back when I smoked a lot of pot and didn't do anything with my life. The good old days. Man, Tony Hawk is what filled the hours, endlessly going for high scores, man. So the fact that they tied this into Tony Hawk has piqued my interest. Everything else about this game so far is not intriguing me.
And some alternative rides, like bikes, skateboards. You got an extreme sports dream.
There we go, endless rail grinding. Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's a great game all its own.
I was knocking people off the bench.
And number 15 is Power Wash Simulator.
Oh, fuck this game. Fuck this game. Fuck this game. My kids will play this game endlessly, but when I give them the pressure washer and say clean the driveway, they get like a 5-foot patch and quit. I'm like, are you kidding? They will quit washing the driveway and go in and play Power Wash Simulator. Fuck this game.
Sometimes you don't want to think too hard or challenge yourself or struggle in an online game. Sometimes you just want to splash some water on a really dirty patio. It's slow, it's methodical, and Depending on who you ask, it's boring work, but I would argue boring is not quite right.
This is for
this is the
OCD
best game
people.
ever. I don't want to sell it short.
And I'm not even
it's a
gonna
clever
lie.
idea that's
When my
executed
kids
very
play
well.
this,
It's just
I'll
not
be
the
like,
sort of
hand
game
me the
everyone's
controls,
gonna
let me
wanna
do
play
it.
all the time,
And
but the
I'll
perfect
clean the
game to
car
play
or the van
sometimes,
because
or
I can
all the
just
time, depending on
evenly
who you
get
are.
nice stripes.
At number 14 is Tactical
Screw that
Breach
game, man.
Wizards.
Game's
It's one of
terrible.
those games where all you need is the title and it pretty much tells you everything. It's a breach and clear
Tactical Breach Wizards. Okay, there was a game a while back that the military developed that was a lot like this, that taught soldiers proper formations of moving down an alleyway or breaching into a room or something. I forget what that game was called. It was a while back. But this reminds me of that. You set up everywhere and then you make it all happen as a team.
That's a great premise, too. But the game is even better than that implies. It's an ingenious tactical game that's essentially a fancy dressed-up puzzle. The story is well written, often laugh-out-loud funny, and the tactical gameplay is exceptional, getting increasingly complex. I can't even begin to tell you how good of an example of this genre this game is.
Could be cool.
At
Could be
number
cool.
13 is Baldur's Gate 3. After
Oh, we knew this was going to make the list, right? Someone tried to get me to play it. I last like 10 minutes and couldn't do it anymore. Mads was the star of Netflix's Polar. Dude, Polar was a good movie. Polar was finger guns, man. He put lasers on the end of his fingers and they were each connected to a turret and he just goes mowing people over. And that chick he picked up on the side of the road, I mean, come on, that was, right? Polar was a good movie. Yeah, one is physical work and one is sitting on your butt pressure washing in a video game. I understand, strategist. It's just that it drives me nuts because I can enjoy both. Like, I could just get out there in a pair of flip-flops with my pressure washer and just clean my entire house. Put on some like earmuffs with the earbuds inside so I could just listen to music, zone out. I can pressure wash endlessly. I find it very relaxing to get nice clean lines, everything all just immaculate. And yet my kids won't do that. They will just sit in front of the TV and they don't want straight lines. They're like, oh, psh, everywhere. And that drives me nuts because I'm like, you're missing these little spots that if you just take your time and go in nice, even straight lines, everything will come out clean. Because I'm a little bit OCD, just a little bit. Whatever, that's the difference there. Yeah, that last one looked a little like XCOM, 100%, yep. Kind of like Aliens Dark Descent or something like that. There was an Aliens game I was playing that was, it was pretty good. I got to a level that was just unrealistically challenging. The pacing of the game just got out of control and I could not beat this one level. And it was super frustrating, that Aliens game. But that last one looked pretty decent. The old military sim you were thinking of, the name is called Full Spectrum Warrior. It was on Xbox. I believe that's correct, Wonderful D. Full Spectrum Warrior. I think you're correct. It was pretty interesting. You know, another good game for the Xbox, the original Xbox, was the Guy game. I talk about this game from time to time. If anybody has a copy of the Guy game, I'm pretty sure you could put that on eBay for $500 and it would sell. The Guy game was so amazing. You literally played all these stupid like drinking game challenges and your avatar was this hot chick and she would take off her clothes for every challenge you won. It was an amazing, stupid, wonderful game. And then they had like these video clips of like challenges of these like drunk people on spring break trying to answer the same questions you were answering. It was such an insane game. I remember when I went to buy this game, it was like at a GameStop. I think it was before GameStop, whatever they called them before GameStop was GameStop. And I went in to buy the Guy game, and I remember the salesman chuckled, and he goes, man, this game sells itself. And he was right, man. The Guy game was fantastic, old Xbox game. I bought XCOM again on Steam. The package buggy now, though. Pumped for MechWarrior Clans? I haven't seen MechWarrior Clans. Let's get into Baldur's Gate 3 and see what they think about it. I never did play Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate is one of those games that if I had endless time, I would definitely pick it up. Really popular title. The D&D RPG, definitely right up my alley. You know, I'm a big fan of Elder Scrolls kind of games and Baldur's Gate. Dragon Age is coming out. I already pre-ordered that. I hope to be playing that with Taco Shooter here on the 31st, so stay in touch for that. But Baldur's Gate is one of them that really appealed to me.
Cutting their teeth on their own unique RPGs with the Divinity Original Sin games, Larian took everything they learned and made Baldur's Gate 3, a game that's both a throwback and extremely modern at the same time. It's a hardcore CRPG with turn-based combat, but what makes it unique is the commitment to player freedom. There's so many things they let you do in this game that you would not be able to do in almost any other game. It can be an exhausting experience to play, especially the first time through, because it does feel like every choice just leads to catastrophe, but no other RPG gives you the kind of agency this game does, and that's really what makes it so special.
Lots and lots of agency on that one. I like too much agency because did you guys ever watch Bandersnatch on Netflix? It was one of those movies that you could choose your own ending. Bandersnatch was so good and had so many cool endings that I went back and watched like all 17 hours worth of footage and played through that story every different way you possibly could. Even found the secret Easter egg endings that are really hard to get to. And really enjoyed it. Baldur's Gate 3 seems like that style of game where I would want to go back and see what the other choice would have done, right?
And number 12 is Forza Horizon 5. The latest entry in the long-running open world series is custom built for fun. The game throws new cars, new race types, new everything at you at all times. It's stuffed full of content. There's so
Of all the racing games, Forza's my favorite, right? When I'm in the mood for a racing game, it's either Disney Speedstorm or Forza. Disney Speedstorm is a Mario Kart style game. Forza is the real deal. The Need for Speed kind of games just never really intrigued me. I like the purity of Forza, the accuracy of Forza. Not to mention, for some reason, every once in a while, their games are like almost free. Like they'll just run a sale on, like I'm pretty sure I picked up Forza 4 for like $1 or something. It was crazy. I'm not a big racing game kind of guy, but every once in a while I just want to zone out and race in circles or race an open track or go on a dirt buggy or something like that. And Forza scratches that itch for me just fine. I'll probably never buy Forza Horizon 5 unless it's for free on Steam or something. But if you're into racing games, I'm pretty sure you will be happy with a Forza title.
much to do to keep busy, and it just looks fantastic doing it. The Mexico
just grab Game Pass and you can get Forza. Okay,
like it as much, but
so there you go.
The variety in their attempts to mix things up with stuff like expedition missions. While so many race games feel stingy, the Forza Horizon series, it's much better about this sort of thing. They do eventually get grindy, but that's not until way past everything you have needed to do has been done. And number 11 is Pentiment, a narrative adventure set in the 16th century in a monastery.
I heard about this game.
Gripping experience of all time, but Pentiment does something special. Written and directed by Josh Sawyer, the director of games like Fallout New Vegas. Pentiment is a game that's deeply rooted in history in a way few games.
Hear that? He said Fallout New Vegas. That just brought it up like 3 points on my list right there, right? I've heard about this game. It's not something I'm going to pick up, but it does look interesting in the way that the story plays out.
It's a game where you'll definitely learn something, but that doesn't mean it's a boring history lesson. There's a murder mystery to solve. It's not just a game with great writing. The art is exceptional as well. It's dense, often complex, and requires patience to get the most out of it. But for the people this appeals to, it's a one-of-a-kind game. And number 10 is Vampires.
They didn't even explain some of the best parts. You go through that game, you make choices, you don't get to know what your other choice was. Like, you'll get to pick one, and then time will pass, and you don't get to go back and check out another person. Like, you're supposed to go investigate, like, 3 people. You'll go pick one of them, and then time will pass, you won't get the opportunity to investigate the other people. And so, like, every choice you make kind of compounds the direction of the game and gives you a variety of endings. It was an interesting theme. Some of these, man, I mean, I know they got 50 titles to go through in a 33-minute video, so they're spending like what 35 seconds on a video or something on a game. But some of these, they are definitely underselling, and some of them, I'm kind of disagreeing with some of them, but mostly because it's like not my genre.
Survivors, sometimes you just want to kill something, and not just one thing, but a whole lot of things, like hundreds of things, thousands of things, nonstop. It's just killing, tons of it. That's Vampire Survivors. You don't even need to learn to aim. What's brilliant about
You don't even need to learn to aim. That's my kind of game right there.
Everything else, it's like a cookie clicker, but instead of clicking cookies, you're blowing away monsters. And that's a brilliant and very simple concept. As a casual chill-out game, there's really nothing else like it. And the way it uses gambling game tricks of the trade to make the game more addictive without actively having any microtransactions at all, it's way more, it's really impressive.
Okay.
They had the power to make a miserable, money-siphoning Skinner box, and instead they just made a really fun game.
Hey, props to those makers. All right, I might check that one out.
Modern Hitman trilogy on a high note. The game doesn't do anything radically different than the other two games in the series. It just does it all really well. You got huge levels, tons of ways to take out your target, and lots of opportunities for improvisation. And
see, here's an example of a game that I'm never gonna buy, but is a very popular title that a lot of people might like, is the Hitman game.
Edition. Another game just barely making it onto this list with a November 2019 release.
Age of Empires 2.
Master of Age of Empires 2 does everything it needed to do to bring this game back to its rightful place as one of the best RTS games of all time. By that, I mean it didn't have to do much. They made the games compatible with modern resolutions, improved the multiplayer experience, balanced the factions, and altered some of the crappier expansion campaigns. The amount of content for this game is huge. There's so many expansions and story campaigns now that it's hard to keep up, but the quality of the mission design is pretty great for all the new stuff. They already had a great game, and they made it better.
Kind of looks like a fun RTS game.
Number 7 is Risk of Rain 2. Ignoring the most recent DLC controversy, Risk of Rain 2 is one of the best co-op shooters out there. It's a roguelike third-person shooter with enemies that get tougher the longer you play the game. Starts off messy, but quickly it can become out of control. It's a hard-as-hell game that is just as much fun to play, especially with friends. And number 6...
See, like that game. Why was that game number 7? I've never heard of it before. Didn't look like much. They gave it like 12 seconds of a pitch. They needed to tell me more. Why did that receive such a high rank? It didn't look like much, and I don't know anything about it.
6 is God of War. The beloved soft reboot of the God of War series came to PC in 2022. Could have been a disaster. I mean, it's...
Okay, God of War. We all know God of War.
They really hit this one out of the park. It's a perfect blending of action, exploration, and story. Combat's visceral. The puzzles aren't super complicated, but they're fun. And so is the Leviathan axe, which can be thrown at enemies. There's very few things more satisfying than yanking that thing back. The animation just works perfect.
See, God of War is a title that I wish I would have gotten into. I know, like, everybody that ever plays God of War, they're always happy with it. At worst case scenario, it's a satisfying game to play through. You know, everybody knows of the title, so God of War is something that I guess I feel like I'm too late into the entrance of the franchise, and I'm just gonna let it go by. But I kind of wish I would have gotten in early on God of War and played through it, because some of the later games, especially the one with his son, looks like it has some pretty good story to go through.
At number 5 is SnowRunner. Honestly, who would have thought a game about driving cars through snow would be this much fun? Don't know what black magic they conjured.
Number 5?
It works. It's essentially a transport game. You're driving to deliver goods from one place to another. Only to do it, you have to drive through thick snow and deep mud. The only way to get through this is with careful driving and an ample use of winch. It's one of those games that kind of actually starts off a little annoying, but gets pretty zen after a while. It is somehow stressful and relaxing at the same time.
Dude, is it just weird, but I totally want to play that. I'm the kind of guy who loves to get mud on the tires, right? I love just going out, getting a rig stuck, knowing that I got a buddy with another rig, he's got a winch, and we'll get it out of there, right? I love that sort of thing. That game just looks so intriguing to me. Like, it seems so simple. I want to understand how the mechanics work and what the challenges are there. SnowRunner. That's weird. That's one that's very interesting to me. I don't know if I'll pull the trigger on that, but that looks so different and unique to me that I kind of want to check that out. You see a bunch of people playing that. You talking about God of War?
And number 4 is Disco Elysium. The original game came out just a few days before the time.
Okay, Disco Elysium? How is this? What was this, number 4? I've never heard of Disco. How are we getting so high in the rankings with titles I've never heard of? The simulator car game. Oh, okay. Rolf Kieran just subscribed for 22 months in a row because they're freaking awesome. Thank you, Rolf Kieran. The number 5 car simulator game, yeah. And I don't. So, Rolf Kieran, if you're just joining us, we're going over the 50 best PC games over the last 5 years, as you can see in the top left corner. We're all the way down to number 4, and we've come across yet another game I've never even heard of before. Some of these latest titles, they're not giving me enough information. They look pretty wacky and weird, and I'm not sure why they're getting such high ratings. Some of this list is coming in a little weird. Disco Elysium is a pretty hyped indie game. That's probably why. See, Rolf Kieran knows. Rolf Kieran's a hardcore gamer. Streams here on Twitch all the time. If you guys don't know, you should go give him a follow. Somebody who's better than I am, could you give him a shout out? And go check out Rolf Kieran. Rolf Kieran plays all the fun games and knows all about the best games. That's why he's not watching this best 50 PC games, because he's probably already played all of them and then some. You think the top 10 would have been more time per game? Yeah, you think. I can see on the time bar there at the end, they're going to spend some more on number 2 and number 1. But of course, number 1's probably going to be the closeout game or something. Anyway, let's find out about Disco Elysium.
Making this, which is October 15th, 2019. That's really cutting it close with our 5-year deadline, but it technically counts. I could just do the Final Cut version, but I'm going to be honest here, I don't like it as much. The voice acting hurts the flow of the game, and there's a lot of writing to get through, so having to hear it all as dialogue slows everything down. That's a minor complaint, though. Disco Elysium is a modern classic. It's dense and complex manifesto wrapped up in a murder mystery plot. Trying to describe this game is futile. All that matters is you can kill yourself at the start of the game, trying to get a tie off of a fan. And number 3 is
Sold.
Factorio, where its full release came out in August 2020. So combining tower defense with a factory game, Factorio is a game where you can skip all the chaff and get straight to the meat. It's a hardcore factory building game through and through, where you can make as many conveyor belts as your heart can take. Not quite the visual spectacle that Satisfactory is, but it does make up for it with its exceptional depth. At number 2,
okay,
is
that's
Red
interesting.
Dead Redemption,
Little factory
another November
knockoff.
2019 game. It's been out for a while.
Oh, there we go. Red Dead Redemption 2. We knew it was coming, didn't we?
Classic. There's just nothing else quite like it as far as open world games go. It's so detailed and carefully.
All right. I've heard of Red Dead Redemption so much, and I am a big fan of Westerns. I think this is going to be one of the titles that if like they bring in like a Red Dead 3 and people say it's good, I'll probably go for it. I feel like I'm really late to the table on this one, and I might let 2 just go by, but I kind of wish I would have got on board with Red Dead. So many people tell me it's amazing. A title that I just need to pick up. You rank it up there with Borderlands, that's high praise for me. I wanted to like Red Dead 2, but there was just too much going on. Gave it like 2 hours before putting it down. See, that makes me feel good about my decision, Zager, is that my time is so precious that I can't pick up a huge game and give it the justice it deserves. You know, like Taco Shooter talked me into Dragon Age, and I know I'm going to have a very hard time playing that when I have so many other titles I'm in the middle of and I'm trying to wrap up. RD2 was a masterpiece. They shouldn't make RD3. Playing Red Dead 2 for 2 hours isn't even getting past the prologue. It's almost like you need to make a schedule. That's right, strategist. If I had enough time to make a schedule, man. First 2 to 3 hours of Red Dead is a tutorial. See, strategist, what I need to do, and I've been thinking about this, I think the solution is I'm just going to give up sleeping, right? Hasn't been doing me much good anyways. I think I'm just going to give up sleeping and just stream at night. And that'll be my schedule. 7 days a week, I'll just stream from like 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., get in like, a solid 6 hours of streaming every night. I can play all the games I want. It'll be fine, right? Because sleep is overrated. I log in just to hunt. Hunt's fantastic. I enjoy Hunt so much with the guys. And now that we're playing 7 Days to Die, which I just didn't realize what that game was, or I would have been playing it sooner, I'm having a lot of fun with Clean and Monguli. And if you guys are interested in joining us in 7 Days to Die, we kind of already have like a 3-man party on Hunt. So that's with me and Clean and Purple Sticky. We swap in a third because, Purple Sticky's kind of a flake. You guys know. But if you guys are interested in joining us in 7 Days to Die, we're fools, but the Twitch integration on 7 Days to Die is blowing our minds, and we're having a lot of fun. I gotta tweak it a little bit, and I'm working with strategists on that. In fact, strategists, I'll try and give you those screenshots that you talked about. We're trying to get it a little smoothed out, but it's so much fun to have that Twitch integration system where chat is just throwing us ammo crates and zombies left and right, and you never know what you're gonna get. Meanwhile, we're trying to figure out just how to play the game. It's so much fun. It's just so much fun. I finished a video at 4 a.m. Sleep is overrated. I guess I'll download 7 Days to Die. Definitely. So I got 7 Days to Die for free somehow, and then I gifted it to Clean for free, and then Monguli said he found it for like $2.49. I found it on Steam for like 44 bucks. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know where to find it or how much it is or anything. It was locking up your Twitch so bad. Yeah, Frost, did you see that the replay on YouTube, the YouTube video just cuts from stop point to stop point? I don't know what it was. It might be that Restream was interfering with it. I didn't think that it was slowing my processing power down or anything, but I don't know. Strategist is helping me with that, so I'm going to figure that out and get it all smoothed out. All right, let's go back to Red Dead 2 here.
Crafted, but it's massive. Gameplay isn't like anything else.
What's the number one game gonna be, guys? What's the number one PC game of the last 5 gonna be?
Point A to B is
it's gonna be Starfield, right?
It takes a while to figure out how to talk to people without shooting them.
Fallout 76?
It can be a difficult and sometimes annoying game to play, but that's all to make it more immersive and makes you feel more connected to this world. The game seems more interesting in making it an experience than just
Elden Ring
fun game, and I respect it for that.
Skyrim.
There's no next-gen patch on console, so the best way to play
I don't think Skyrim makes the 5-year cut.
Super high-resolution max.
Could be Elden Ring. That's not terrible. That's not a terrible
even now,
pitch.
5 years.
That's a super popular game. All right, here we go. Number one.
Finally, at number 1, Half-Life Alyx. Now, VR has had plenty of great games. But
what?
I think the masterpiece.
What? Are you kidding me? They gave number 1 to Half-Life Alyx? Are you out of your fucking mind, Gameranx? Are you serious? Did we watch this backwards? Is number 50 the best one? Because that was Cyberpunk 2077. That was one that I thought should be way high on the list after all the patches, not on release. On release, it was terrible. We all agree that. Half-Life Alyx? Absolute scam. You're right, strategist. Absolute scam. Okay. Okay, they better have some kind of crazy justification. They didn't even talk about Elden Ring, Rolf Karen. They didn't even put Elden Ring on the top 50. They had a bunch of other Souls games that they talked about instead. Some Souls-like games, as they say. That's as scammy as playing MSF with money. There you go. There you go.
Is perhaps Half-Life Alyx. Not many people can actually play it. Like, there are mods so you can play it using a keyboard, but trying to play it that way is pretty awkward, and you're not getting the full experience. The real way to play this is with a VR headset, and not many people have those yet, but a ton of effort went into making this a really immersive experience. Blows everything else out of the water. On top of that, it is a proper Half-Life game. It is not a tech demo. It's not half-baked. The game is bursting with new ideas and innovative gameplay that take advantage of VR in exciting ways. It's just a shame that only a fraction of people who own PCs now will really get the chance to play the game, because it's seriously an all-time great and worthy addition to the Half-Life series. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know.
Okay. I don't know why they put... You know what? I would have been more satisfied if they put Red Dead at number 1 and Half-Life Alyx at number 2. I just feel like so few people have a VR headset to play Half-Life Alyx on their PC that the barrier to entry for that game should have brought it down huge. Not to mention, there are so many other titles that got left off. I know they're going for variety of games here at Gameranx, but number 1 is Half-Life Alyx is a shame. That's just trash. Yeah, no way it's better than Red Dead 2. Yeah, you think it's trolling? They just want to blow up the comments section? I mean, it's fine if they want to include a VR game on the list, but they got to bring it way down. They got to bring it way down. I don't care how good it is. I don't know a single human being that played that game, including myself. I don't care how good it looks. If you can't play the game, it sucks. Okay? That's like, it's terrible. That's terrible. They're fishing for hate in the comments section. No way Elden Ring isn't even on the list. Agreed. The video has to be years old anyway. This video isn't. This video came out yesterday, Wonderful D. You know what'll make you feel better? Killing Xenos for the Emperor. Yeah, but I'm already out of time, strategist. We made a 33 minute video stretched out into an hour and a half. I'm out of stream time here. Absolutely a bait for the YouTube algorithm engagement. 100%. Yeah, that was crap, man. Even Falcon didn't sound as excited about talking about it in the number 1 slot. Did you hear him talk about it? Like, listen to his voice. Listen to his...
Finally at number 1, Half-Life Alyx. Now, VR has had plenty of great games, but I think the masterpiece is perhaps Half-Life Alyx. Not many people can actually play it. Like, there are mods so you can play it using a keyboard, but trying to play it that way is pretty awkward, and you're not getting the full experience. The real way to play this is with a VR headset, and not many people have those yet, but a ton of effort went into making this a really immersive experience.
He's like, I'm letting you know, because I know you didn't actually play this, that this is really good. Like, come on. He doesn't even sound that enthusiastic about it. Like, I've seen him do ranked. I mean, they rank everything. Normally, when he gets to number 1, he's actually excited about the game. You can even tell this is such a troll. This is bullshit. This is such bullshit. How's my scheduling problem being handled? My scheduling problem isn't being handled at all. I'm taking on more shit. I'm about to register a new company for myself because working 40 hours a week for the city plus overtime wasn't enough. So I decided I'm going to register a new company and start my own business again. He yawned when talking about it. Oh, I see. It isn't being handled yet. Yeah, I think this video was a sham. I'm very disappointed in Gameranx over this one. This was hot trash, Half-Life Alyx. Half-Life Alyx should have came in at 35 or something. Sure, it's a masterpiece of VR technology, and everybody likes a good Half-Life game and everything. But come on. Come on, this is not a popular game that everyone's going to get excited about. People are going to be trashing this in the comments just the way we're trashing it right now. Yeah, make it while you can. Never know when you won't be able to. I'm sure all 5 people who have VR loved it. Oh, it's a private contracting, Gangster KT. Yeah, I've been doing some side work for realtors in the area. They basically call me when a house needs to meet code in a hurry because the sale's closing, and the inspector comes by and finds some Mickey Mouse thing that's wrong with it. They call me and I charge them an arm and a leg, and they don't care about it because it's just going to get rolled into the cost of the sale. And so I just run out there and fix little things, and it's making my time working with this city bearable because I go through the city just living for the weekends, and then I get to the weekend and I get to be my own boss. I drive out on location, get to play with all my toys, hands-on construction work that I really enjoy. Get to charge an arm and a leg and nobody blinks at it. Everybody's happy with the work I do because I do good work. And some things are challenging. Some things I got to study up and learn something new. So I like that. Other things is just easy stuff. But it's nice to be able to go out and help people. Plus, I've been meaning to start my own company again. I enjoyed having my own business back in Oregon. So I'm just going to start small for a couple of years, just do some stuff on the side. But it is going to be a registered actual business. In Texas, you don't need to be registered as a general contractor. If you want to be a plumber, electrician, or HVAC, you do. But you just have to register your business. So I'll be doing that. Run going back to being a full normie worker, yeah, instead of gamer. Well, so here's the plan, and I hope nobody from work is watching, because they all think that I'm going to be working for the city for 20 years or something. I'm definitely not going to do that. But you get vested with the city after 5 years. And that means once you're vested, all your retirement stuff kicks in at the lowest level, right? If you pull out early, before age of retirement and stuff, you don't get a lot of the tax write-off. But all the other things that the city does goes into effect. And one of the things is they'll match my retirement fund 2-to-1. And so at the end of 5 years, I'll jump out of there. I'll have well over like a $30,000 little pot of money, and I can use that to buy some equipment or invest in stuff or really get my business going. So I want to start working up some clientele now, working on the weekends, a little extra money and stuff. And then after 5 years of working for the city, I will probably have my fill. In the meantime, I'm trying to make connections with all the different contractors, all the different city employees and stuff like that. Get my name out there, let people know I'm a hard worker and whatnot. And plus the health insurance benefits are great with the city, but no one at my level gets rich working for the government. It is a job that sustains you. I'm not big on that. I like the American dream. I want to be rich, right? I didn't realize it, but I was rich. I didn't know that because it came easy for me. I had the right things. But I want to get back to being rich again because I didn't realize I was rich. So I'm going to do it all on my own this time, and I've already got things started, and it's making my life so much better. It's just I have zero time, and streaming. I was never going to get rich streaming. I've said that all along, but I reached my goals streaming, you know. When I sat down and had lunch with Mobile Gamer and Darth Microtransaction and stuff, I was kind of internally losing my shit. Like, I never imagined I would get to that level of content creation. And so having completed that goal, and then some, I'm okay with moving away from streaming for the time being. But believe me when I say this, I am not done here in this space. I am definitely going to eventually come back and find something and really go hardcore. For right now, I just love hanging out in other streamers' chats, watching other content creators, watching their videos, and every once in a while when I have a little time, coming here, hanging out, and talking with you guys about video games. Absolutely makes my day. It's the funnest part of being on Twitch. And I encourage any of you who are watching on YouTube or on Twitch, get in front of a camera, get a microphone, and join us on Twitch. Hang out in your favorite streamers' chats on the regular. Say stuff in chat, be known, get heard, make friends. You're going to have a great time. And I know I definitely do. And it's because of all the wonderful people who come and hang out in my streams and whatnot. Stop saying the plan out loud on public internet. I don't think it's a big deal. I think that most of my coworkers know that I'm not gonna last in the city for more than 5 years. Like I said, you just don't get rich working for the city, and I want to be rich. I don't even care about being uber rich. Like, I don't need to be Elon Musk or anything. I just want to be successful enough that I have the free time that I can waste money building a studio and buying more video games than I have time to play with and more monitors than I can look at, right? I was able to do that because I ran a successful business years ago. And I'm happy that I got it all set up because I don't have the money to afford the shit I'm doing right now. But it's all fun. I'm out of time, though. I'm out of time, so let's do the thing we do. I'm going to bring up a window here. And we're going to raid the Twitch viewers out. And if you're one of the 3 people watching me on YouTube, I'm sorry that you don't get to interact with us here on Twitch. YouTube just doesn't have the integration, but you don't have to deal with the commercial that Twitch viewers just finished watching there on Twitch because YouTube runs ad-free for the time being. So congratulations on that part. You can always find links in the description to come over and find me on Twitch. If you want to watch that 50 game list video that we just went over today, you can find that in the description as well. And I think there's an outside chance that I may stop streaming live to YouTube and instead just repost the good live streams with a tiny bit of editing to YouTube like I was doing. I think that this restream is having some trouble with some of the integrations that I'm doing with Twitch, and I feel like I'm doing Twitch a disservice by trying to do 2 things at once, and I'm not really paying everybody the attention that they deserve. So like I said, if you're on YouTube, be sure to check out the Twitch links and see what's going on over there. Or continue to hang out and do your thing. In the meantime, I'm going to send you guys over to Mobile Gamer, who is doing stuff over there. Oh, look at that. I could knock and join Mobile Gamer's stream. That's amazing. He probably is busy and wouldn't want me joining his stream. But that stream together thing, that's another integration on Twitch that YouTube doesn't have yet. There's a lot to love about YouTube, but it's just not there with the Twitch platform. In any case, have a great rest of your weekend, however many hours you might have left. And be sure to spend some time with your family because that is more important than anything. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will catch you hopefully real soon.